Archon Quests are Genshin Impact's main storyline. They're about the Traveler and Paimon journeying around the world from Mondstadt to Liyue to Inazuma and now Sumeru. The main goal of these quests is to search for the Traveler's lost sibling. After the recent quest with Dainsleif and the Chasm, you end up here in the new region. I expected it to be excessive dialogue. I warned myself, normal Archon quests are composed of very lengthy conversations. Once these quests start, I click that autoplay button to the top left and let the dialogue run itself. I like listening to the VAs, but that's when you see how much time an event like this really takes. As of recording, I ended up over 6 hours, all from doing these Archon quests. I'm not sure what a normal Genshin gamer wants out of life. Maybe it is listening to this for hours and hours.
What a lovely smell!
It takes a lot of time to sit here through all this. It's not my favorite thing to do. I wish they streamlined it a bit, mixed it up with how you had to play these. Sitting here listening to voice actors talk for hours is not at the top of my list. I divided these quests up based on memory. I know they have chapter characterizations. It's even on the wiki. Grouping them up from what I remember makes it easier for me to discuss them. The first part I remember is the Tighnari and Kale stuff. It was fine. The region had to be introduced somehow. I distinctly remember one moment that made me not like this. I bet it's not even obvious.
Now, the guide to Avidya Forest's edible fungi is clearly posted on our bulletin board.
4 lines. That meant this man talked too much for me. You'll see some 3 lines. I'd argue the Genshin VAs speak pretty fast as well. 4-liners signaled trouble. They were getting their chops in. I didn't know what I was in for after this. I would have appreciated this Tighnari and Kale part more if I knew what lied ahead. I did not, so I kept dooming. These guys are apparently
Forest Rangers.
They're based in
Gandharvaville.
You meet
Kale.
character introductions and personalities get spammed.
Like right smack on his forehead.
Whoops. Sorry, Master.
Spirit Borneal. Feeling better?
You listen to them talk a ton. They let you play the game every now and then and do stuff like this.
All right.
And this.
Oh, this lamp seems to be getting a little wobbly. Let me make a note of it.
Much more dialogue happens, then this happens.
Primordial Wrath! No! Don't touch me!
I kind of chuckled at this, at least the reaction part. Paimon isn't a physically active creature, yet she flew over like she was about to do something. I did not believe this. Was she going to ruffle Kale's hair, poke her, yell into her face? Or was she going to straight up beat her ass? And this made things awkward for a bit. Paimon became a beast of burden now. I guess we get over it, then more dialogue occurs. Tighnari explains what happened.
To put it simply, she's not well.
You go to collect some lotuses. You don't get to keep any said lotuses because they're story friendly. Some randos come over and announce
The Withering?
this was my favorite part of the Tighnari and Kale storyline. You get to fight some dudes and it's kind of fun. New mechanics aren't too bad if they're easy to understand. The first time I saw the Withering out in the wild, I got bodied. I was reckless. I learned and now I think they're fun. More talking occurs afterwards. You have to help a scholar you met earlier in the chapter.
Apasia!
She hungry.
It's been nearly 3 days since she's had anything to eat.
This leads to a logical explanation. I would have liked this story domain normally. The issue was that I thought it glitched out. I reset and redid the whole thing. Not a great time. I got to the same part and looked up online why I messed up. Apparently it was a puzzle. Guess I'm not a gamer. Well, after that you fight an Abyss Herald and it ends. Talking happens. You see these funny guys. They look like great merchandise. After talking with Tighnari and Kale once more, it's time to move on. I forgot about this next part. I remembered it when I was reviewing my VODs. I'll call it Sumeru City 1. You come here and get introduced to technology. I guess that's cool. I like how culturally different each region has felt. Feels like I'm reading a novel with different worlds or something like that. I forgot to mention with the previous part, Traveler and Paimon's objective was to look for Kusanali, the Denjo Archon. Gotta keep that sister search up. This dude you meet, Osfond, has some good dialogue.
If you ask me, I think most in Sumeru aren't interested in Lesser Lord Kusanali. As far as the people of Sumeru are concerned, she's just a god that exists. And that's all.
He puts things in perspective. After him, you meet my least favorite character of all this Archon Quest.
I'm doing your Zod.
She's fine. I don't mind her as a character, but she's an NPC. An NPC that is weighted so heavily in this storyline. Me, personally, I can't be bothered by NPCs. Oh well. You do meet someone pretty cool after her. Her introduction is ass though.
Wait, stand down, Dia.
After she almost animes you, she has some unappealing dialogue.
In that case, you two should scram. There's nothing here for you. Stay out of this. You don't understand the situation.
We're the main character here. I don't like being disrespected by the cooler, more alpha-looking character. Her role here is to be a bodyguard. You know, the bodyguard to an NPC. To sit here and get ignored while these two have a full conversation irks me. It's a time and place talk too. This could have happened when we got to know Dia more first. It feels early and forced to me. I didn't like it. The payoff of listening to these two have a heart-to-heart is a very subtle ending.
Yay! Looks like they've reached an understanding.
I don't know, my bad. I guess I just gotta hold that. There's some rare visual novel images. You meet Nilou. So, for another tangent, Yanfei's deer horns are actually part of her body. She is part deer. Nilou says she's wearing a crown?
I've noticed that you can't keep your eyes off that crown over there.
She's not an animal. They make Yanfei's antlers look natural on her. I didn't notice what they were until she mentioned them in dialogue.
These antlers? Oh, well, my father is an Adeptus, so I have Adeptus blood myself.
I wanted to make sure this time around I knew what I was looking at, not that it really matters. Genshin did a good job with Yanfei. I just wanted to know this time around. Talking ensues. You get to solo hang out with Dia a bit. She helps you out. After all this, you get led to the next part. I'll deem it the All Hate Them and Dory part. It's in Port Ormos. I like the vibe here. It's very RPG for me. Some music to match it would have been nice. I play with it off, so I had to imagine what it sounded like.
Port Ormos is pretty great. There's so many new and interesting things.
Like I said, we were looking for Kusanali. To help with that, we needed to find this stolen item. That's why we're at Port Ormos now. Osfond mentioned it helped. Talking with random NPCs occurs. You're led to some shady characters. You have to give them Mora that isn't actually lost. Then you're introduced to this badass. Here's the child Rex Lapis Ayato looking MF. He's cool. I only have one big issue with him, and it's that he pronounces capsule the British way.
Is a knowledge capsule. Knowledge capsules. Some of these knowledge capsules, you wish to learn more about the knowledge capsules. Here are 2 knowledge capsules.
Wait, no he doesn't. I checked my VOD and he just says it however he wants. I seem to remember him saying it like this more.
Knowledge capsules, knowledge capsule. Divine knowledge capsule.
I thought he was saying it wrong.
Capsule.
He was not. I don't know. There's small stuff like this you notice when you're in dialogue hell. It's time to meet Dory after a bit. I failed this minigame because I didn't care. Dory is short. Genshin has a handful of characters on the shorty scale. She's fine. Her voice worked for me.
Even if you wish to buy enough knowledge capsules to decorate your house with, please knock yourself out.
I did get annoyed at this upsell. It was pretty obvious, and the travelers seemed to notice it as well.
If you spend just 100,000 Mora more, you can pick any knowledge capsule of your choice up to a value of 1 million Mora.
Moving on back to All Hate Them. You get some rare action, a fighting break I didn't expect. Some more talking happens, more fighting, a cutscene of All Hate Them smoking this noob, then an achievement which signals it's time for the last part, the Groundhog Day. I can't believe they did this.
Have we been trapped in a single day?
Time loop stuff bothers me so much. Loose plot lines can always be resolved because of time. People sweat so much making these storylines too, like a lot of effort for having the time loops make sense and getting the user to buy into it. I can't bother. I thought Genshin was above this, I don't know why. They're clearly not, and man does this drag the hell on. The amount of talking in this was outrageous. I felt like I was losing my mind. Did I ever have a point of caring about this part? I wonder. Dia was cool. She anime smurfs it for some reason. I like that.
How did you know she was here?
I can sense her aura.
You got to meet the Dendro Archon finally. She's short stuff. I didn't mind. The circumstances for a discussion with her were kind of ass. Like, we're getting Groundhog Day here, woman. We can't have a good conversation now. When she said that this was all a dream,
We're all in one big dream together right now. Correct answer.
and it belonged to someone,
This dream belongs to a host who created it.
it was obviously Nilou.
So Nilu's the host. What a surprise!
Not because of anything contextual, which if there were, I didn't catch it. It's because there were an assload of events, and the payoff had better have been a real character. There was a gameplay element, a memory minigame. I mashed through it every time. I didn't care. The one fight we got was not great. I will admit the emotional beat for Nilou's dance was nice. Ghostly specters make me feel kind of sad, but she's fine in the end.
You're okay.
Okay. Anyways, it does eventually end. So, what's the end result? Well, my main goal was to unlock Sumeru commissions, bounties, and requests. They're initially locked when you enter the region. I thought I goofed at first. I looked it up online, and you have to complete a follow-up quest to unlock bounties and requests. You are held up on immediately doing commissions. Shoutouts to more online research. It takes an extra day to switch your commissions over to Sumeru. It takes an additional one to actually start them. Overall, these are the worst types of quests for me. I mentioned non-interactive gameplay. Doing little mini-games as seeming filler or a way to change it up doesn't cut it for me. I can tolerate when you have playable characters palling around with you. I like the ones we interacted with. The NPCs getting this much face time is beyond me. I don't care for them. They can voice act. They're quite good at it. Genshin cares about their NPCs, but I don't. I still put my time in for this one. Now I need to focus elsewhere, like this event and this character. Real gamers likely rushed these Archon quests and completed them in record time. I did not. I'm relieved to be done with them, but these left a bad taste in my mouth. I'll have to be ready even more for next time. No getting blindsided, fooled, and Groundhog Day. Man, this was a goofy ass storyline.